This video has been coming and a lot of you know this. Let's talk about Halo Infinite at E3 2021. But before we get into the video, definitely hit that like button if you guys enjoy the video. You can always subscribe to the channel for weekly content. Don't forget to go over there and follow me at Twitter at LordAddictILP. Without any further ado, let's talk about Halo at E3. What's going on, you guys? Gaming out here coming at you with another video. We're going to be talking about Halo Infinite at E3 and what I personally expect at this event in terms of how this game is going to be shown and what to expect of this game being shown. I'm sure a lot of you know that last July Microsoft went out there and they shown Halo Infinite's gameplay for the first time. There was one key thing that the majority of the gaming people that was watching this event had in common. They had issues with the way the game was running and the way the game looked. Now look, I personally didn't have a huge issue with what the game looked because in my personal opinion, it doesn't really matter what a game looks like in these type of events. It matters what it looks like at the launch of the game because these things are always based on old builds, etc, etc. So you don't really ever see what the game final build's gonna look like a year to two before the game comes out. But I can totally understand from looking at that, it definitely didn't look the greatest. There's a lot of popping going on in the background and some of the textures wasn't really loading correctly in my opinion. But to me, what I saw on there, it looked like the combat went a little bit dialed back from Halo 5 and they went towards more of a classic Halo feel. That's what I saw in the game. Besides the grappling hook, Halo Infinite just looked more classic Halo to me. And to me, I'm a little bit tossed on that because I personally enjoyed Halo 5's movement. I felt like that was the closest we've ever come to actually experiencing what it would like to be an actual Spartan. These aren't just some small soldiers. These are 7-foot+ soldiers that are designed to be super soldiers. So at the end of the day, I always felt like the movement in Halo didn't represent what the character you were actually playing was. So you fast forward a couple weeks after that presentation at July during that event, Microsoft ended up delaying Halo Infinite an entire year. And even until this day, we still don't have an actual release date for Halo Infinite in the year of 2021. I think it's safe to assume it's coming out this year, but because of the COVID situation, it could even get pushed back even more, but I don't think it's going to. I think it's pretty safe to say it's coming out this year. But the next time they show Halo Infinite's gameplay, I definitely feel like in terms of the majority, and especially because of the delay, it needs to show and deliver. And that's what this video is about. I want to talk about Halo at E3 and what I personally expect out of this event from the Halo brand. First thing we're going to talk about is clearly what was brought up the most during that July event. We're going to be talking about the actual presentation, the graphics, how this game looks, and whether or not you should expect a drastic difference from July. I don't think you guys are going to get that. I think it's going to look a lot better than it did in July, but what I see on social media and what I see YouTubers say, I don't think you're going to get that type of a difference. You're going to get where you can clearly look at it and see, yeah, it's definitely improved since last July, but I don't think you're going to look at it and be like, this is the prime example of what the Xbox Series X can do, because I don't think at any time Microsoft was going to use this game to really be the powerhouse and show what this console can do. Now, I don't want people thinking that I think Halo's going to go out there and look horrible. I think it's going to look great. It's going to be a very beautiful game, but I don't think it's going to wow anyone. I think it's going to be one of those things you pop up and it's like, oh, this looks really nice, but it's not going to be one of those things that you're constantly sharing screenshots to Twitter and you're consistently talking about how the presentation of the game looks. I think when it comes to this, Halo's going to get by off of being an average to above average looking game. I don't think it's going to be anything drastically lower where you're looking at that and you're like, wow, that looks horrible. I think pretty much for the most part, you're going to see the Craig moments of the game go away because now they have a little bit more time to actually highlight certain issues in the game and fix it. But that's my expectation when it comes to the graphics of the game and how this game's gonna look. Let's talk about the gameplay. Like I said earlier in the video, this is the strength I feel like 343 has put into Halo Infinite. I feel like more people are gonna gravitate more towards that classic Halo feel than what the game looks like. When I was seeing the actual game in July, I wasn't even really 100% focusing on what the game looked like. I was focusing on how this game was being played. And it's like I said earlier, now I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I think that this is more of a classic feel Halo than you're going to get from 343 ever. I personally did not mind the movement system that they put in Halo 5, but I can understand a lot of vets that love the Halo brand had an issue with it. So it looks like they kind of met us at a middle ground. They put a grappling hook in the game. So I think you're going to see more of that, just more defined, better animations. And I think for the most part, that is where this game is going to shine. Now let's talk about a little bit of what they're going to show at E3 at their conference in terms of Halo Infinite. I'm kind of drawn a little bit. I feel like there's still a good amount of time between now and the actual release date of Halo Infinite, which if I were a betting man, I would say that this is probably going to come out like the end of September to maybe the middle of October. And I could be completely wrong on that, but to me, I feel like Microsoft's going to make sure it doesn't get sandwiched between a Call of Duty. I know the new Battlefield's coming out this year, and they need to make sure that it doesn't lose a lot of that hype that it can have because of the wrong release date. We've seen games like Tomb Raider get destroyed from wrong release dates. Titanfall 2 destroyed from wrong release dates. So hopefully Microsoft will definitely focus on that too. And to be honest with you guys, I think we might see campaign here, but then again, they could completely just show us multiplayer at this point. They did show us campaign last July, but like I said earlier, it wasn't received extremely well. So me personally, I feel like they need to show us a little bit of both, but they could totally go one way or the other. I'm leaning more towards multiplayer, but they could show us more campaign because they know they got more time with multiplayer, and they know that for the most part, 343 hit that out of the park with Halo 5. So they got a lot of people's acceptance when it comes to the multiplayer. So they might try to show that later on and maybe in an Inside Xbox or just a video in general that they upload to YouTube. But if I were to come out there, you know, and I were to say, what do you think, Addict? I'm thinking they're going to do both. I think the reason they're going to do both is because there's a lot of hardcore Halo people out there that want to see that multiplayer aspect. And Microsoft's not dumb. They know that the state that they showed Halo back in July wasn't the greatest, and they could have done a lot better in that. So they know they have something to prove in terms of the campaign as well. So I think we're going to see probably a 15-minute gameplay of both. And that's just my opinion. It's like I said, they could go either way. At the end of the day, they know that they need to capitalize more on the single player than the multiplayer because of how successful the multiplayer was in Halo 5. So they might try to redo the campaign thing. What would be cool is if they did the exact same area that they did with the July event back in last year, and they show the difference of how it looks back then and how it looks now to give people that, you know, satisfaction of, okay, that they did improve that. Then after that, you know, they might show a couple snippets of a multiplayer game, and then they'll announce the multiplayer beta because we know if anything, the multiplayer is important, and they got to make sure that it comes out this year that's not broken and their servers can handle the amount of traffic that they're going to get. It's okay to have a couple hours be a little sketchy on getting in games, but they can have anything close to what happened in the Master Chief Collection. And I think for the most part, we all know that the chances of that happening is pretty slim, but we definitely want to vocalize. We want this game running properly when it comes out. If you guys have been following my channel for a while, you know that I've been skeptical with 343 in terms of how they're handling the Halo brand. At some points, I don't feel like they've completely dropped the ball like a lot of people in the community. I've always felt like they've made great Halo games, just nothing amazing. I felt like they've always dropped the ball in one point of aspect on Halo, and they did well on another aspect. We've talked about Halo 4 and how they did the story great, and then Halo 5 they did the story bad. I wouldn't necessarily bad, but it definitely was, it could have been a lot better. And they did the multiplayer of Halo 5 great. I think that 343 has the potential to do this right. And I think they can easily do this, right? Because they've shown us that they're able to make a very compelling story like Halo 4, and they're able to make a good multiplayer like Halo 5. Let's just put those together, man. Let's get this game over the finish line. I personally feel like what I see on social media, people have the wrong expectation when it comes to this. I think Halo Infinite's going to do things that's different in the Halo brand. I think they're going to change it in a lot of different ways, but I don't think we're going to get some drastic change in gameplay like everyone wants. Not everything can be God of War. God of War is in the unique situation that they could make the game they did. Not every game can do that, and not every game needs to do that. I, being a huge Halo fan, I don't want them going too far from the foundation that I fell in love with. I want them to keep that foundation the way it is and build newer blocks in that foundation. And if, to me, not appealing more to a casual audience can keep that foundation the way it is, I'm 100% okay with that. I think Halo is going to appeal to Halo fans. I think the fact that they're making it a free-to-play is their way of trying to branch off and be more into the casual market than they currently are. I think that Warzone's going to come back in a big way, but I don't think it's going to be exactly what it used to be. I think you're going to expect more of, you know, kind of a Battlefield thing where they're going to have a huge big team battle going on, and it's going to be fights from one side to the other, and there's going to be vehicles exploding, there's going to be aircrafts going everywhere, and I think that fits more in the Halo universe than a battle royale. Would I complain if they had a battle royale? No, because I feel like personally ODSD makes the perfect sense for a battle royale game, but I think at the end of the day, no one wants to play as ODSD. They want to play as Spartans, so I don't know how they're going to really go around that. So I think a big team battle mode that really capitalizes on that destruction thing everywhere, capitalizes on that maybe 50 versus 50, that is where they're going to shine the most. But that's just my speculation. I think Halo's going to come out and it's going to be good. It's going to be a good Halo game that for the most part Halo fans are going to love. But at the end of the day, I don't know if it's going to appeal to a wider audience. I think it might just appeal to Halo fans. And my question to you guys is that so wrong that it just appeals to Halo fans? I'm curious what you guys have to say in the comment section about that. But that's pretty much the video. I feel like Halo is going to come out there, it's going to have a strong presentation, and that when it comes out later on this year, it's going to get that kind of, it's just Halo. And at the end of the day, like I said, is it wrong to be just Halo when all the Halo fans want is a good Halo game? But that's it for the video. Definitely put in the comment section below where you guys want the Halo brand to go. Do you want a newer sensation where they're trying to rebrand it completely? Or do you want just, you know, 343 just to build off the current Halo foundation and improve it? I'm leaning more towards the latter, but I definitely want to hear your guys' opinion. I'll be reading them. And until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace.